Supreme Commanders, how are you all doing? Somewhere out there forging alliances, I hope, or just milling around YouTube looking for somewhere to click. Today, gonna bring you a game going down a few days ago. It was part of the Rainbow Cup. Perhaps the title was a little giveaway there. Rainbow Cup 6 taking place middle of March 2023. Several games in total. I'm going to be covering one of those games today. The reason I didn't cast this earlier on, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. And I think we've gotten away with that. Although that said, I think overall the cast didn't gain quite as much as attention as it maybe could have. And I think that's maybe in part due to it ran on quite late in the evening. And also on the Forged Lines, the official Forged Lines Forever channel, they put it all together in one big video which totaled over 6 hours in length. And I just think sometimes that's perhaps a little bit longer than most people have to put away with. But I'll tell you what most people can cope with, and that's a single game. We're going to take a look and jump on over now. So let's take away the music. Auto sequence, start introducing our players there. Weird kind of, I've put there the cap, 4,100. It was a team total cap, but the rules were based on when the teams signed up, and to add even further to the confusion. So in other words, if you signed up at 1,000 rated and then were to continue to play and your rating went up to 1,200, your 1,000 rating would still apply. So that kind of made sense. But then what was a little strange was that the team captain's rank was fixed at 2,200. So in other words, if you had a 2,500 player rating, because the cap was fixed at 2,200, that didn't mean that guy couldn't play. It meant his rating points only counted towards 2,200. So in other words, if you were to max out your team and have somebody playing on your team rated 2,500, you'd basically gain an extra 300 points on your team. So I'm not entirely sure the decision behind that one. There was a bit of back and forth with regards to it in the forums. But that aside, it's time. That's right, let's come on. Welcome our players. We'll jump on in. All right. I know. Yes, it's time. And by popular demand, no longer is it going to be known as the Fireys versus the Coolies. No, this one. All right, simmer down. Thank you. Cheers. All right. No, this time it's the Hotties versus the Coolies. Got a petition in one of the comments recently. I thought that's brilliant. I'll go with that. And so Coolies over in blue, Hotties over on the what was the fiery colour, but now the Hotties. And down below, we've got a third team on this game, unusually. No, it's not one of those weird sort of free-for-alls. It's, in fact, the AI. And so we'll unpause. We'll take a look at that in a sec. And so let's start with the game. And we'll begin with introducing the players on the Hotties side. And so over there in the western corner, ways at the back, it's FTX Commando, 1800 rated. This guy, UEF there, starting first land in the Ferrari red. Moving out to his east end, slightly to the north in Burgundy, it's the Wheelie, 2500 rated UEF player, also going first land. And then further to his south is Nuggets, a 2000 rated Aeon there, also going first land. And that there finishes up Team 1. I'm just going to slow down a tad because we've got a few things to look at on this map. Flipping over then, directly opposite Nuggets is Zlo, 2,200 rated UEF. Don't forget the 200 there on the end. Zlo, who's had his rating seems to be a lot higher again than it was when I it seemed to start really high, dipped a bit 2 or 3 years ago. It seems that he's won it back again in light purple there. Also going first land, also going UEF. Seems to be a bit of a theme on this very high rated game. To his north then, it's Vaffles Noob, 2100, also UEF in sky blue, also going first land. And then last but not least, in the rear with the gear, it's Flowy, 2100 Aeon rated in electric blue there, also going first land. And so 2 UEF and 1 Aeon per team. Unsure if that's mandatory or if people just deciding today, you know what, UEF seems to be the ways to go. All right, before we go full pace, we're still at -2. Let's highlight some of the mass values there. And you can see quite clearly there a whole bunch of mass to be had there in the middle. 7,880. And if you add the hundreds and indeed the thousands flanking it, that's well over 10,000 there. Up top, we've got another at least 8,000 there. And then down below, we've got thousands more. I also really like, and I only really discovered this when I was doing the thumbnail, because again, I only checked briefly that there's no major desync. These little lizard-like creatures, the hills here shaped like a lizard, or what are those things called, a gecko, or something like that. Either way, massive fan of that, whoever thought to do with that. They've done very well indeed. And so let's have a little look then at the AI. 2 AI on each side of the map, shall we speak. Oh, they're all on the same team, if you like, the green team. And these are AIX-rated AIs, so, you know, arguably they're better than the standard AI, although, of course, they're nothing compared to these high-rated players. And so that's going to give the players at least something to think about. So, yes, you could potentially get raided from down here. And we've also got these civilian bots here. Here we see the Titans. Let's see if the first casualty in the game is indeed going to be an AI falling victim to a civilian AI. And I guess they've decided, no, we're friends. We're going to be on the same team. And that's well in the range. So it would seem that the AIs and the civilians joining forces on this one, which is no surprise. Now you think, well, why not rush out straight to the mid and have all of this juicy mass? We see there's a whole bunch of it. And the answer is because we've got these civilian here, more of these Tech 3 bots defending. So if you want to roll a engineer through there, it's not really going to go. That said, you can roll an engineer, it would seem, in through the top. And there's certainly nothing stopping you bringing a transport in there. And as we get towards minute 3, let's pick up the pace now, full speed, and enjoy the game. Round 1 on the Rainbow Cup, number 6. Year 2023. I don't want to spoil it by saying who won and how many rounds. If you don't already know, hopefully this game will pique your interest and perhaps you can think about looking into it a little bit. And it would seem that these civilian Titans, far from being able to shoot, are just there for decoration. 5 engineers there belonging to Vaffles Noob. And the... yeah, okay, so bit of a mistake there from yours truly. I had a lovely comment from someone the other day saying, this is one of the worst casts ever. I hope you never make another cast again. You're as bad as Willow and Guile. And I'm thinking, okay, and what's this guy got? I took a look at his channel. He had like a Minecraft video from 6 years ago. So I thought, oh, one of them. All right, yeah, all room to improve. But back to today's game. And for now, both teams rushing towards the mid. Looks like 3 factories online from both sides, nearly online. Looks like the Waffles Noob there faring slightly better. Although engineers here do have the numbers for the wheelie. That is, of course, unless Floey comes in with a Tech 1 bomber, picks off one of those engineers. Wheelie still has the numbers there, bringing his commander in tow as well now. And now another run, this time from Zlo. Bit of a hover bomb. Beautiful bomb there. Picks off all of the engineers belonging to Wheelie. At least 3 or 4 going down there. And that was expert control. And here we see now, we were talking about these AIs down here that would prevent the teams from being able to completely go down. And we can see first order of business would appear to be try and create a bit of a wall. I don't believe it. These 2 commanders being hyper aggressive, and Nuggets' base is having a bit of bother. And the Harms AI here, I think, overcharging the factory is causing a lot of damage. They don't yet have the gun. An FTX Commando going up against these 2 now. Looks like Nuggets putting just enough units out to put them off. And if we come over on the flip side, we see exactly the same happening over here. as you'd expect, two commanders versus base, and at least for now, Flowey, well, he's been very careful, and these commanders as well, overcharging as they can into the side of the factory units there. And that makes this very interesting. It's going to force players to have to think about something else, but for now, quite a lot of mass in the mid, still there, still about 5,000, but it's around half of it disappearing. Certainly the large chunks there from the top having gone, but still got a lot there, but the largest ones have gone. How much on each of these? 389 mass for each one of these chunks, so there is a lot. And Nuggets potentially finding himself surrounded here in between Slow, Wafflesnoop, and a whole bunch of Tech 1, and it looks like Nuggets is going to go down. And it looks like as soon as he recognizes it, his only objective is to bag himself as much of that Tech 1 as possible. So what are the rules on this one? Let's have a little look then. Are we handing over share conditions? Yes, it is. It's a full share. And initially, everything goes to the wheelie. The wheelie hands some of it off to FTX Commando, the 1800. And I'm not sure why everything would be given to the lowest ranked player. I'm not sure if that's a rule that we're unaware of, or if the wheelie is happy just going one-on-one in the mid and leaving everything else to Commando. Perhaps somebody could let us know in the comments section the thinking behind that, especially if you was involved in this. But wheelie looking increasingly strong there in the front, despite being 2 versus 1 after his pal went down there, Nuggets, but he's got a lot of factories. And the cheeky AI continuing to push through. In fact, AI already at the Tech 3 stage with some Titans up on the line. And Slow's base looks like it bore the brunt of those AI assaults, but at least for now, the 2 AI on the eastern side retreating back to base, having done their thing. And interesting as well, the AI seem to be favouring the old UEF and Aeon as well. And so it's definitely an Aeon UEF game, this one. And at least for now, it would seem FTX Commando is task saturated in plugging up the gap. And he's going to have to look towards Tech, possibly even point defense, because the AI seems real good, not just at sending spam, but sending up some Tech with it. And I think the best way to deal with this is some stack point defense. Feels very much like a survival game coming up from the south, while also having a regular PvP in the middle. Really like this style of game versus the M27 AI there. And the wheelie now versus 2 commanders. Yes, there's a lot of spam. And both commanders, all 3 of them still bare. But the coolies are starting to break through. Factories belonging to the wheelie there going down, and wheelie's got to be careful, because as soon as he loses not just the factories but his units, he could potentially be completely surrounded, outnumbered, and facing a lot of problems. But for now, he's using his commander to expert, as you'd expect. And Wafflesnoop with the numbers there pulls back a little bit and continues, loses 3 yards there. And he does get himself a Tech 2-point defense online. That's kind of crucial. That may just be enough to dissuade these coming through any further. This Tech 2-point defense perhaps a little ambitious. Be nice if he can get it online. But certainly this one here, belonging to Wheelie, is going to be high value. And you can see he's prioritizing the defense there with his units, aware he's got to keep that Tech 2-point defense online at all costs. And now this one taking some damage. Rolls a shield forwards to try and keep it alive. And it looks like Wheelie just about is going to be able to hang on to that. In no doubt thanks to these AI that were broken through into the south, and the Tech 3 are going to give the Coolies something to think about there. Gun going up now for Waffles Noob. And we'll take a little look elsewhere. Once again, the Greenies, the AI over on the west side, deciding to push up, renewed in their aggression now that they've got Tech 2 mobile shields with them. Engineers as well to eat through the walls. And FTX Commando continues there to focus on these. I would like to see him put some more Tech 2 point defense down in this area. And if we come over, take a quick look on the east side, and it would seem, at least for now, Commander's not yet breaking through, but more and more units, including Tech 3. And it looks like Flowey's, his role on this one is to be as FTX on the other side. Your job is to plug the gap. And here we have an AI problem that has yet to be resolved. I'll shoot into the floor. You shoot into the floor as well. Neither of us will make any progress. And if unit not equals dead, then keep firing. Are we in range? Yes. No question. For is the hill in the way? AI improving all the time, but not quite there yet with a player. The humans still got the advantages for now. I'll tell you who maybe doesn't have the advantages. And that is, it would seem that the commander here, together with these units over belonging to the Greenies, are starting to break through. And FTX Commando, yeah, here we go. Finally with the point defense. But with the two commanders on the line, they're pushing through together with the units. The commanders over on the east side, at least for now, being much further back. Although that said, Mr. Porter here in the darkest screen, he's making a move back to the front. And now FTX Commando says, right, I've had enough of this. Send some air out. But the AI's not stupid. AI has some interceptors out there. FTX Commando backs off. And it looks like he's going to lose the majority of those gunships. Does have a ASF now on there. 2 ASF. See, is that going to be enough to deal with these interceptors? I think they're going to be lucky if they get another gunship. They do manage to bag themselves one more. And they're going for the heaviest damaged one there. So they actually managed to bag themselves another. Wheelie, let's take a look at him. Well, he's got himself gun nano and is now working his way towards the shield, and he's got that, and so that's both arms as well as the main chassis of the commander all got themselves something to talk about. The UEF can get himself a secondary shield and get himself a little bubble, but I don't think there's any need for that at this stage. Probably too costly. And it looks like Wheelie's deciding to take a peek with that. Waffles Noob appears to have been a right beneficiary of up here. I'm not sure, perhaps if all players noticed it or if it just were a priority at the time. But I think Raffles, together with Slow there, were able to get some units in and enjoy the mass. Speaking of which, let's have a little look at totals so far. Incomes, if we ignore, of course, the Greens. Team 1 over there on the west side. Team 2 on the right. 160 versus 170. And so 10 mass per tick favouring Team 2, which is very small number indeed. Less than 10%. And if we take a look on the reclaims, then that's the one I was particularly interested in. 27,000 versus 24, also favouring Team 2. So about 10% advantage across the board, both on reclaim and on income. Make sure I set that back to income. And in totality then, you'd expect Team 2 to be ahead, but it's not. It's Team 1, 110 to 107,000. So somewhere along the line, Team 1 had a higher income than Team 2, and they've now lost some of that. This time, Flowey's turn to deal with the commander, who is now fully shielded up. Sniper com there. June, this one goes by the name by. the M27 AIX. And what about the khaki one? Tech 2 with gun, the UEF guy, not with a shield or with attack missile. And I'm sure FTX Commando going to breathe a slight sigh of relief there. Harms backing off, then thinks, no, let's do a twist. I know, let's go 360. And Harms there, shielding himself up with a bunch of shields. It's war far from over here. Back to the mid, and this time Wheelie's turn to push through with a bunch of units. Also has his commander on the line. And with this about as good as it gets for when it comes to combat for UEF. Nano, gun, and shield. Blackman away. 60 kills thus far. 2-star is about 50% of his way onto 3-star. And Vaffles Noob caught with his pants down a little bit, desperate to try and finish the upgrade. It's close. He does finally get it, and it's time to move. And now Vaffles equipped exactly the same as the Wheelie. Gun, repair, and shield. And now these are going to be two massively dangerous commanders. And their priority, no doubt, is going to be trying to pick off at each other's units as and where they can. And at least for now, really getting some shots on the commander. Ideally, you want your commander and your units to be sort of working together. So there's never only one of them doing the damage and taking damage. Now, if everybody's focused on the commander, because that's all that there is, clearly your units are left to either attack with impunity or be out the way twiddling their thumbs with impunity. And so it's best to mix where you can. And it looks like that the Coolies are having to divert more and more forces down. This time it's their turn to deal with both commanders knocking on the door. And Flowey there, yes, he's sniper con, but he's not got the shield and is desperately throwing overcharges in. Does have himself a shield, but it looks like that the team on the west here a little light on the point defense. Yes, they do have a solitary Tech 2 point defense and a Tech 1. I think Commando was much quicker to think of that one, who's now having to put attack missile defenses down. AI not being stupid by any stretch. Okay, you're going Tech 2. I'll switch over to attack missile launchers then, which is very typical of players when they're doing base wars, I have to say. Back to the middle. Wheelie's shield still up 2/3. Vaffles Noob's shield is much higher, although 66 kills, 3-star for Vaffles Noob. And Wheelie 3-star with 95 kills and is just a couple of kills away from becoming a 4-star. Although with 100% health on each commander. Not that it goes to waste, they just get more hit points anyway. Totals. Oh no, Mercy Snipe attempt against Wheelie. He backs off, gets himself under a shield, but the problem is shield collapses. And Wheelie now, health continuing to collapse. And now a flanking move from the north from Vaffles. Wheelie has got to back off now. Gets himself 4-star, but he's got to be worried about more Mercy Snipes coming through. He's overcharging Titans as he goes, the highest value unit. Best thing to do, not just because they cause you damage, but they're the best way to vet yourself up. And Wheelie's got to continue to retreat now, but things looking right dicey for him. He's got about 25% left on his shield, and he's about 80% on the way towards becoming a 5-star. And if he can overcharge anything juicy, any Titans, I'm sure he'll get it. And it looks like he's just about able to get away with that attack. It was looking right dicey. Vaffles didn't press as hard as he could have, perhaps due to these point defense and units that Willie's amassing back there as well. That would have cut into the side of the advance from Vaffles Noob, which itself was cutting into the side. Let's have a quick look elsewhere. It would seem that Zlow's forces down here continuously having to jostle with some of the AI that's pushing through. And for now, the AI, it would appear, has conquered at least 50% of the map. And with an increasing number of ASF down here, also working on a Fat Boy, that's going to be dangerous. Let's see, any weak spot here from the AI? Well, on the face of it, I'm not seeing any TAC missile defense here. It could just be that I'm blind. I do have a TAC missile launcher, but I'm not seeing a TAC missile defense. And the AI is actually rebuilding its mass extractors. So best I could tell, it did away with its Tech 2 and started from scratch on a Tech 3, which is, again, I'm told, the most efficient way to do it, providing you can build it within a certain number of seconds. Wheelie, shield must have collapsed on his commander while we was elsewhere, and he's on 50% health. Shield coming up through 25. Massive rep speed thanks to all of that. 30 hit points a second on the shield, 80 per second on the chassis of the commander. And a little bit of an air engage over here. Looks like FTX has got it sorted from the air, but his commander also heavily damaged. He's got broadswords in the area as well as ASF, and he's backing off all the time. And FTX Commando, still a bare commander, desperately needs to get himself a gun. But I don't think he's been given enough pause from the AI to sort that out. Of course, the other team have had the luxury of having two commanders down here. We see Zlo as well as Floey working on the situation. But FTX Commando has been left to battle two of these. Expert AI by himself. He continues to back off, desperately trying to sort the situation out with broadswords, and the AI is just homing in on his position. Overcharge. He needs more overcharge. He desperately needs overcharge. FTX Commando, where's your overcharge? He's so close to an X rank of vet. And it would seem that the AI finally runs out of steam. Just 1,600 hit points left. AI decides, well, that's it. We'll back off. And FTX Commando, if he hadn't before, get yourself upgraded. Get yourself energy storage. He's got a few broadswords here. That's going to hold off the worst of it, providing the AI doesn't start producing flat. But now the AI with strap bombs, and just one of those to the face will kill FTX Commando. I'm surprised he's not tried to build himself a shield to get underneath a little more urgently. That air's going to need to be patrolled. And the wheelie now looking much stronger than before. Shield is back online at full health. And he himself is well over 80% health as well. Goes one-on-one versus Waffles, who's also taking some damage. Shield back on as well, and whose health is also, it's about 70%, give or take. And the old point defense war's going on down in the middle, but Wheelie is the first one to get the Ravager online. Not the Ravager, no, the Ravager. The Tech 3 UEF point defense, that of course got more damage, more range than any of the other point defenses in the game. And that is going to force Raffles and indeed the entire Coolies to back off a little bit from the mid. And really look now very much stronger on the southern end as well. And I'm starting to think at some point, come on, deal with these. FTX, deal with this. Come on, they're just mobile missile launchers. You've got broadswords. You can't put TAC missile defense over the entire base, and it looks like FTX Commando says, I hear you. I played this game days ago, and I'm moving ships in, and he's primarying the flax, which is exactly what you need to do, and that then lets him attack the rest of them with impunity, and these here have got to be the priority. And there he goes. And I love that. Look at the AI, how it tries first off to back off, and then realizes, well, they're dead anyway. I might as well just do little circles in the area. So basically trying to dodge, right? The AI was trying to dance. This AI is a fantastic game, and I don't believe it harms the first AI, indeed the first player in the game to get an experimental unit. And it's a Fat Boy belonging to the Harms AI. And so a slight discrepancy between the two teams. I suspect there it is. Oh, so only by a few seconds, Porter gets himself a Fat Boy online as well. Now, the Fat Boys are very vulnerable to attacks from the air, but as we've seen, the AI not shy about building flat units. Question is Commando going to be on the ball enough to deal with that as and when. There's too many AI units breaking through here. There's not a lot of anti-air in the area. I'd like to see Commando. He's still just stood there. I don't understand FTX why he's not at least getting himself the gun. It's late game, 25 minutes. A gun is almost free to get at this stage of the game. And Wheelie hands off a radar on the front line to FTX Commando, who he assumes will be better placed to afford it. Let's have a little look. And yes, that's definitely going to be the case. That's going to give the Hotties global radar coverage with their Omni sensor there. At least you'd think so, placing it in the mid. And the Coolies breaking through down the south and the mid. The problem is, as they break through, the first lot of units they're going to deal with belong to the Greens, the AI. And yes, you're probably going to have to deal with those at some stage if you want to break through. But if you only go part way and then back off, that's only going to benefit the Hotties. And so it's a very much a all in or nothing, unless you're intent on just giving your opposing, a real enemy, an advantage. And FTX here looking increasingly strong with these broadswords. And I love the way the AI moves these backwards and forwards and the use of shields. But FTX Commando, no, don't back off again. Don't just deal with the air and then back off. All of these now, deal with these. They're wide open. Why have you backed off? Why back off? I don't understand his thinking there. And looks like he has now got himself an air repair pad, and that's nice to see. As you know, I'm a big proponent of players using the air. There, look at this one, how heavily damaged it is. That's a Tech 3 broadsword. Now watch this. How much quicker is that than trying to build one from scratch? That was like 80% damaged, and now it's 100% online. Irregardless of what it's doing, that it's refilling the fuel. And look at this. The AI just reclaiming structures there belonging to the Hotties. Broadswords now from the air, as well as restorers dealing with some isolated units there from Zlo. Has himself one Tech 1 mobile anti-air gun. That's not going to be enough to dissuade Tech 3 gunships. Has himself a Tech 2 flak a little further back, but just one of those probably isn't going to be enough either. And looks like the gunships, well, they say no. And this time, AX June's turn to get first. And is that a GC? It is. And are we going to repeat process a few seconds later on the other side? Well, no, is the answer. GC over here only just being started. Massive air engage there. And FTX Commando once again electing to back off. AI producing more and more ASF. And sending reinforcements in. And the two AIs now working together. Look at this. AI over from the east side. Diverts ASF over to the west side. And now FTX Commando in a right spot of bother. Get your SAM site online now. Forget about upgrading the mass. You want the SAM site now because your base is being swarmed. I think he was kind of lucky there that the AI's ASF were backing off at all. Come on. Yeah, he's being swarmed now. You need SAM sites. SAM sites. AI swarmed your base. Come on, it's just like a player swarming your base. SAM sites. Otherwise, every time you build something, it's going to get shot down the moment it leaves the hangar. Flowey, the first player to build himself an experimental, and this game, 29 minutes in, going nowhere fast, it would seem. Nowhere at all. And the Southern team, what am I talking about? The Greens, the AI, presenting a GC versus GC. Slow controlling this one. Pings going down. No, Slow, what are you doing? Keep your laser of your GC targeted. And the GC there, primary Slow, Slow is shielded up. He's trying to put overcharges in. He's trying to hide behind his shields. He's now trying to block the fire with his own GC. Slow, you're going to have to keep moving. And he manages to block some shots. He blocks a few more. Oh my goodness, that was close. Slow, that is masterful play. And with it, keeps his own GC online with about 75% health. Doesn't get much closer than that, ladies and gentlemen. Very well played there, Slow. And despite the greens down here looking very strong, they're looking even stronger over on the the west side. It's the air. Commando over here does get himself some SAM sites online. And that's going to be enough to deal with at least hanging around there too long. We've seen here strat bombs from the AI just roaming around the map almost with impunity through the mid. Desperate pings there going down. And FTX sends some units there over to the wheelie, but I think the wheelie has got enough to deal with. And looks like FTX Commando trying to wall off the base with SAM sites. Problem is, he's not got any air to deal with when the inevitable experimentals come through. Here we see large numbers of units belonging to the wheelie getting taken out from the air. We've got restorers and broadswords working together with ASF belonging to the AI. And it's starting to feel a lot like the biggest threat on the map now is the AI, not the other team. Whether it was always that way or not, and exactly when the change took place, I couldn't say. But it looks like the Coolies well in control on their side. Yes, their opponents may have a few more experimentals. And what we saw as well, and I think this went hugely the Coolies' way, was when all of those ASF, in this case from AI June, was sent over across on the other side of the map to assist the two AIs over here. But at that moment in time, we're losing air to Commando. And once that additional route of ASF was sent over, the ASF that Commando had left were written off. Now, yes, AI spamming Tech 1 bombers over the map. They're going to get shot down. Some of them managing to kill a few of the engineers working on it, but just wondering. And yeah, it does seem to be enough to dissuade the AI from hanging over here too long. The real problem is getting enough ground to where you need it. As we're seeing here, too many restorers and broadswords roaming around, damaging too many units there belonging to Wheelie, and he seems powerless to do anything about it. I mean, this is a large group of purses. Now they're going to try and shut down this fatty that so far had 42 kills, and those kills are going to be almost entirely versus the Wheelie's units. I keep saying the Wheelie. Been playing Das Boot earlier on. Now this time, yeah, let's see. AI over here as well, very strong on air, but don't seem to be pressing as much. I have to say, certainly the hotties have had the brunt of it when it comes to dealing with the AI and air. The Coolies must have enough units in the right place to just dissuade the enemy AI from actually attacking in. They seem to deal with any units that come close, but they don't push in. Meanwhile, another GC from June versus the GC from Slow. Slow's GC heavily damaged, but it would seem GC there from June trying to push through. And this time it's Waffles Noob's turn. And with the second GC, that's just going to be a mass gift there for the Coolies. Seems AI capable of making those mistakes as well. And this Tech 1 bomber run is just relentless. And the Wheelie now eating Fat Boy fire. And you can't really dance long-range barrage artillery fire from a fatty. Yes, you can try a little bit. And looks like desperate pings there from the wheelie. I think he knows if I leave the mid, this fat boy is going to prevent me from doing so. I think the only way he can get out now is if he gets, to be safer, a Tech 3 transport ship and hopes that nobody sees him do so. The best way to do that is to build a little stealth generator near your commander, so even if they do know where your commander is, you walk through the stealth field, they now don't know what is where, because it's just going to be anonymous radar signatures from then on. And it looks like that Harms here, the lime green AI, definitely got it in for the wheelies middle base. And again, the coolies not enjoying the equivalent coming the other way. Yes, there's a lot of air now coming from the south, but again, flying over. Okay, they take themselves out of shields. And they're now working on a GC. But it would seem that the AI over on the east side is only concerned with preventing the coolies pushing south. The AI over on the west side is actually trying to push through and making massive gains. Now, if only Wheelie could get close to this. I mean, this is basically an unescorted fatty. Yes, there's a bunch of flak units in the area, so you can't hang around with gunships. But it's not escorted. I'm not seeing any Titans or anything. I'm quite surprised that Wheelie isn't trying to make a move for it. And we hear there the first nuke out. AI there taunting some of the players. And again, it's a cross nuke. It's a cross map nuke. June, the AI that you'd rightly expect to fire on the coolies, has it in for the hotties. And that is unfortunate. And it's starting to feel an awful lot like, despite everything else, it's the AI that's tipped this one. And that's going to be FTX Commando's base going up. And was the commander and the commander with it. And that's going to leave everything down to Wheelie. Players laughing in chat. No doubt at the misfortune there. Commando upset that his anti was 80% loaded. We had 2 loaded strategic missile launchers, says Raffles. Crushed. I wonder if that was it then. Did the AI realize, oh, they've probably got a missile in theirs, so we'll fire it elsewhere? And I don't see any reason why he would be disingenuous on that front. Let's have a little look. There it is. And indeed he does. 2 missiles there in the clip. I wonder if that was it. I mean, granted, it left this base here wide open unless there's something there that I'm not seeing, but either way, granted, from the AI's point of view, it was very clever play going after the guy who's only just got a missile defense on that doesn't yet have a missile in the clip, assuming that's the reason it went cross the map. But certainly all the cross-map activity favouring the coolies there, and if they didn't know it before and one of them happens to watch this video, I do think that was the case. And then Commando, don't forget, fighting 2 versus 1 versus the AI as well. And he did pretty well, to be fair. And again, that's with Nuggets going down very early doors. And it looks like Zlo is the first player to get an experimental on the line. His GC with his IB, he's forgot to switch it off. And it looks like that thing is going to beam and beam and beam. There he goes. How you doing, Cyclops Eye? And Wheelie, together with a defense sat above his base as well from the Harms AI.
Strategic launch detected.
And now with another nuke inbound, has got to be feeling a little bit like time is starting to run out. 3 versus 1. Take a quick look at incomes overall. 600 versus 760, favouring the coolies. And yet another cross-map nuke. Unbelievable. I mean, the nuke could have been fired here. It could have been fired here, but oh no. It would seem that the AI is absolutely determined to wipe Wheelie off the map. And Waffles Noob says he's paid the AI. Wheelie says, bro, how much did you pay? Well, the $1,500 prize pool. And that is very unfortunate. I'm not sure that there's much that Wheelie can do about this now. 2 players down. Throws his commander forward. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's game. A few seconds shy of the 40th minute. Coolies there grabbing themselves round 1 on the Rainbow Cup. Number 6 for the year 2023. Hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen, and it's whet your appetite. And until next time, from me, wherever in the world you may be, take care. Bye-bye.